Is anyone undateable? This is Liz Powell from Sex Positive Psych.
This is Cathy Vartuli from the Intimacy Dojo.
And we had someone write in and say, I'm undateable. Meanwhile, a fat slob hires an obviously gorgeous escort to be with him at some bar. And it was a female identified person that wrote it in and was feeling very rejected and like, how come no one will date me? And it's such a hard place to be.
It is. There's so much pain and hurt behind that question. I personally believe that no one is like blanket statement undateable. Everyone is dateable. But you might not be in a space right now where dating is going to be successful for you.
Yes.
I think that, so for instance, I'm divorced, right? And in the several months after my ex and I split, I tried to do a lot of dating, but I was not really capable of dating, right? If we're using a medical metaphor, I was bleeding out and I was trying to put Band-Aids on someone else, right? It doesn't work. If you're in a space where you're having so much hurt and pain that you can't move out of that, you may not be in a space where you're ready to start dating yet.
Yeah. I didn't date for 14 years because I thought no one would date someone who's bigger. It turns out that it's not. It was so much more about my own internal shame. And there's certainly people that don't prefer to date bigger people. That's fine. But I wasn't even putting myself out there because I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of being hurt. And I was so afraid of offending somebody else by asking them. And when I got past some of the shame and started putting myself out there, I put at the top of my Cupid profile that I'm a bigger woman. You know, if you don't want to date someone who's bigger, don't message me. I started getting date after date. People are like, wow, you're like, I like how you're okay with who you are. And I have good days and bad days, just like every human being. But it was more the shame, the toxic shame, and the self-disgust that I felt that was keeping most people away, as opposed to the actual weight, which I thought was the culprit. I was blaming the wrong thing.
There are people of all sizes who find love. There are people of all different facial structures, all different races who find love.
Heights, ages.
It can be more challenging in certain groups than others, but everyone is dateable. Again, as long as you're in a space where you're confident and solid and healthy enough to date.
Yeah. So I think it's more about, if you feel undateable, ask yourself what it is that you feel undateable about. And then for me, it was asking what's underneath of that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we'll blame, oh, I have a pimple or I'm big. And I did a PSA with Buck Angel about, I was in my bra and I was like talking about bigger people being sexual. And I had a really great friend who's, she's model pretty. Like, men stop in the street, turn around, walk after her, give her the phone numbers. And she's like, oh my God, I would never do that. I have a little cellulite right here. And I'm like, oh my God. And so there was shame there too. So it doesn't matter what our size is, we can have shame. We tend to blame something, like if I'm bald or if I'm too hairy or whatever it is. We blame the thing that we're too skinny, too fat, too whatever, as opposed to looking at the real fears and shames and the fear of vulnerability. Like, connecting with people is vulnerable. It's a lot safer, even though it was a miserable place for me to be, and everybody handles it differently. But for me, I was locked in this cage with shame because it felt safer than to go out there and connect with people that might judge me.
Yeah. And a great book, if you're looking at trying to develop shame resilience and move out of your shame, is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown.
She's amazing.
I love Brené Brown's work. The Gifts of Imperfection is a great book for looking at the ways that shame plays into numbing behaviors, shame plays into the ways that we turn ourselves down from things, that we harm others, right? The reactions that we have to others are often shame-driven. And when you work through your own shame triggers and figure out what it is that's bringing that up in you, it makes it so much easier for you to be available for someone else's attention.
Yeah.
Like, if I believe that I'm undateable, if I believe that no one will ever want me, how am I going to convince someone else that they should?
So, and Brené's work is amazing. You may want to be gentle with yourself when you go through it. It can bring up a lot. I was listening, I had on a book and tape, and I was listening, and I was like, why am I feeling so down today? I was like, oh, I listened to 3 hours of it today. I need to give myself a break and process some of this. But it's very powerful.
Yeah. And it's another book, especially if you're a woman and you're feeling undateable, a really great book that I love. It has some problematic gender essentialism, but beyond that, is Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts. It's a really beautiful book about getting back in touch with yourself as a woman, finding your own turn on, getting in touch with your pussy and the magic of your pussy, and really enjoying your life as a woman.
That's wonderful, yeah. Learning to reconnect with yourself first and going out in the world as someone who owns yourself and loves yourself, that's pretty sexy.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that actually do know themselves and can say, no, if you touch me there, really cool things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Or just like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to take care of myself. That I think so few people have. And the thing is, one of the gifts I found is that because I didn't fit the stereotypical conventional prettiness, I dug a lot deeper than I might have.
Yeah.
And that's not true for everyone, but it's like, I know some very conventionally pretty people that dig very deep. But for myself, I think if I'd been coasting along, I would have been content enough that I wouldn't have really examined who I was. So if you can use this as an opportunity to go deeper into yourself and really know yourself and walk through the world as a powerful adult, that's sexy, no matter what your shape, size, whatever.
And the last thing I would say is, especially in our culture, we focus a lot on romantic relationships as like the best, most important relationships. Build your friendships, build your community, find love other places. Sometimes it's hard to love ourselves until we see ourselves reflected in someone else. And finding really good friends who care about you and who see you in a way that is more genuine and more real and more loving can sometimes help you find that in yourself.
Yeah. We hope this helped. We'd love to know what you think. Do you think anyone is actually undateable?
Comments below.